Now, a lot of you may not know this, but I used to be a for sale by owner guru. I kid you not. I took an expensive course. I invested in several properties, and I was determined to sell my properties without getting a realtor involved. Currently, I am one of the top selling realtors in Orange County, California. So suffice it to say, I kind of know the pros and cons because I've worn both hats. So this entire video is dedicated to the pros and cons of selling your house yourself. I'm here to help. All right, folks, I'm going to be really honest with you here. There are only a few reasons that I can come up with why a homeowner would want to sell their house themselves. And to be fair, these reasons are significant, okay? They're significant. I'm not trying to minimize them. The top reason why a home seller would consider selling their house is because they save on commissions. Folks, it's a lot of money. If you were to take your calculator out and start figuring out the commission of selling your house, it's overwhelming. I mean, some of these commissions are like annual salaries for a lot of folks. And it's hard for them to get their mind around spending that kind of money on a realtor when, at the end of the day, what do they really do is kind of their mindset. So the top consideration when a homeowner is going to consider putting their house on the market is the commission savings. The second consideration is that the home seller actually knows what's going on. So the biggest complaint that I hear from home sellers is that they hire this agent, they have a costly contract, meaning they're paying a lot of commission, and they never hear anything from the buyers, meaning the feedback, and they don't hear from the agent. So when you are selling your house yourself, you get to ask those agents, hey, what's the feedback? Maybe you're there at the property. You kind of know what the buyers are saying. So there's a little bit more control when you're selling your house yourself. Another benefit is what happens if you source your own buyer? Maybe you respond to a letter that was left in your mailbox, or maybe you're at the grocery store or sitting at your kid's soccer match and you start a conversation and you realize the person you're talking to wants to buy your house. Maybe you don't need to get those realtors involved. Maybe you hire somebody that can mediate at a low price, or maybe you get an attorney involved, or maybe you talk to an escrow company that can help you through the process. And that, when I'm saying you, I mean both the buyer and the seller. That all makes sense. And with you doing that, it's going to save you a lot of commission, a lot of hassle, and it's going to make the process easy. The question is, where are you going to find that buyer? So if you already have one, it makes sense, I would say. If you don't, maybe not make sense. Let's talk about the cons of selling your house yourself. The number one thing that comes to mind when you do for sale by owner, these buyers aren't dumb, okay? They know that you're doing this because you want to save on commissions, and they're all good with that, but they also want to participate in your savings. So they are looking for a discount. They don't want to pay full market value. When you put your house on the market for sale by owner, you have a big sign over your head that says, hey, I want to make a deal. I don't know what I'm doing. Make me a lowball offer. Now, when I was selling my properties back in the day, it was an extremely hot market. So I did relatively well. But even with that said, I still didn't perform as well as some of the realtors because I was just thrilled that I got an offer. At least I didn't have to pay those commissions. And even though it was a lower price, hey, it makes up for it because I didn't have to pay those commissions. Now, when I was doing this for sale by owner bit, it was from 2003 to 2008. And when the market took a digger or took a correction or had a correction, I could not sell any properties for sale by owner because there was so much inventory. And to try to attract those buyers to the property, doing it for sale by owner was extremely difficult. In your market, if you are considering selling your house yourself, really know if it's a thriving market. You might be able to catch a buyer, but more than likely that buyer is going to want a deal. Another con is that most buyers don't want to deal directly with the homeowner. Most homeowners that are selling their property are a little cuckoo. It just gets emotional, okay? Now, I've sold a lot of properties for sale by owner and also my own personal residence. And I will tell you that I get emotional. Now, I have sold a gazillion properties for my own personal clients, and I am cool as a cucumber. I can negotiate. I don't get emotional. I keep my brain in a really good track. But when I go to sell my own properties, I don't know what it is. There's something that just clicks in. For a lot of you, your personal residence is your biggest investment that you own. And so when you're dealing with a large sum of money, your biggest asset, and you're managing it yourself, it can create a lot of anxiety, it can create a lot of emotion, and your buyers know that and they want to avoid it. Another con that I see home sellers making is that they put their house on the market, they get it out there somehow, And they start throwing all these incentives in because they're trying to attract the buyer. They're trying to sell their house at market value. They don't have the marketing on it. They're selling it themselves. So then they just start throwing all this money out the door because they're getting emotional, like I said. So they're putting things in there like, oh, we'll pay for your closing costs, or we'll throw in a 2-year home warranty, or hey, we're going to give you $10,000 in upgrades. Or they start putting these like really expensive advertisements and these horrible magazines that no one looks at because they don't know what they're doing. And they're starting to panic and they think, oh, I need to attract the buyer. And this is the best way I know how to do it. It's inexperience. It's not the right tactic, if you want my opinion. The reason why the buyers aren't purchasing your house is probably a couple of reasons. Number one, they don't want to deal with you directly. Number two, they're concerned about their own representation through the process. And number three is maybe your house is priced too high. They may not really see the value that you see it. A few fun facts: 47% of home sellers out there actually cried when selling their home because it was just too overwhelming and too stressful. And there was an additional 1/3 of the home sellers who reported making legal mistakes because they did not have an agent involved. Guys, those are not good stats. And just be careful. Understand that the process is a lot more rigorous and a lot more complicated than you realize. Okay, I need your help. Please subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. This is my side hustle, so any help that you can offer would be forever grateful. Only 7% of the sales were sold for sale by owner in domestic U.S. in 2023. Now, that is sharply down from 1985, which represented 21% of the homes closed in 1985 were sold for sale by owner. So there is a very sharp decline. Most home buyers and most home sellers want to conduct their business via the realtor. Now, 7% of the sales in 2023 were for sale by owner, and only 11% of those were actually successful. So you have a very low success rate when you're selling your house for sale by owner. The best way to attract buyers, whether you're selling your property with a realtor or you're doing it yourself, is to put your property on the multiple listing service. That's called MLS. And the key to doing that is you need to have beautiful photos. Your house should be staged. And when I use that word stage, I mean properly prepared. I did a video right here, which I recommend that you watch. I have a few staging videos linked down below that you can watch. But those photos and how your property shines online is going to attract these buyers. Now, only 3% of the for sale by owners actually have their house publicized on MLS. So they are limited from the get-go. Some of these for sale by owners will put their house on Zillow, or they will pass out letters. They'll even list for sale by owner on Craigslist. But understand, you have a much smaller pool of buyers looking at your house if you don't put it on the MLS. A pitfall I see a lot of home sellers making when they go to sell their house themselves is that they can't get their head around the price of the house. I highly suggest, whether you're hiring a realtor or you're doing your own sale yourself, that you get an appraisal, establish market value. But even when you give a homeowner an appraised value, they still are like, yeah, I don't know if that's right or not. I disagree with this. But here's the deal. That's their professional opinion, okay? It's very hard to take the emotions out. But if you do hire a trusted appraiser, it does make sense. A lot of these homes that are sold by the homeowner feels like they have to price the house higher because they need to leave room for negotiations, okay? That's called the old style type of negotiator. There's two types of negotiators. There's the old style, which, admittedly, I'm that negotiator where I was taught to go walk away from the car dealer 10 times before we know we got the best price. And now there is this new type of style, which is, hey, you just tell us what you want for the car, tell us what you want for the price of the house, and we'll let you know if we're in agreement. So we're seeing right now that most 80 to 85% of the homes that are being sold right now are over here on the newer style where, hey, here's market value. We'll let you know if we want to purchase your house at market value, but we don't want to negotiate. That we just don't have time for that. That's kind of old school. We don't want to waste our time. Just tell us the price you want for the house. So I see a lot of home sellers that are selling the homes themselves feel like they have to leave in some wiggle room with that expectation of negotiations. And what you're doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot, because the perception is from the buyer side is that you're just being unrealistic with the price. We have very educated buyers out there right now. They know the value of your house. It's a matter of time when you'll figure it out too. And usually by the time you figure that out, unfortunately, Your house is probably perceived at a lower price because it's been on the market longer, and there's a perception that there's something wrong with it. So be careful when you go to price your house. Be realistic. Don't be greedy. Get an appraisal. I think the biggest pitfall that most homeowners don't realize when selling the house themselves is 75% of you end up paying commissions anyway, where you're like, okay, well, yikes, maybe I'll pay that buyer's agent a commission, because you're just starting to throw money away to try to attract buyers to purchase your house, and you're on a timeline, and you start getting nervous. So you end up paying those commissions. Well, that buyer's agent has to fill out a purchase contract. And if you are the seller, how are you going to respond to that purchase contract? You don't have the state required forms. So you end up having to hire that buyer's agent to represent both sides. And you don't even know if you're being represented properly, because you don't know if that buyer's agent has any experience, but you're going to have to cooperate with that buyer's agent because they have the proper forms per their state licenses. I hope you understand that. Now, this is a fun little story. I was a listing agent 2 months back, and a buyer came to my open house. I cannot make this up. And I was serving cookies. I had some napkins on the table, and he brought out his pen and he said,
"Listen, I do not need an agent to represent me, and I'm going to write my offer on this paper napkin, and you have to present it to the seller. It's the law. You have to present it."
So, of course, I called the seller up. I'm like, hey, I've got a napkin here, that offer that I want to present to you. And so we agreed that we were going to counter the napkin offer in a California purchase agreement. Now, in that California purchase agreement, it states that there are all these other California Association of Realtor forms that are incorporated into the agreement. So when we presented that to the buyer, we said, hey, we're countering your paper napkin with our California purchase agreement. And there are certain forms and certain processes that you have to adhere to. So let me know if you're interested. Well, of course, the buyer can't, because he doesn't have those forms. He doesn't understand those processes. I tell you that because I think it's kind of funny, but also because if you are a seller and you think you're going to attract a buyer's agent, just understand that they also are licensed in a state that's going to have something very similar, right? They're going to have their own forms and their own, we'll just say, timelines and their own processes. So when you do get that state regulated purchase offer, you are going to have to follow that process, and you are going to have a representation because you don't have those forms. So in the long run, you're probably going to have to pay those commissions anyway. Just something to consider. The top 5 regrets that for sale by owners have: 75% report that they had to pay a commission anyway. Another regret is for sale by owners report that their house sold for significantly lower than other homes in the area. They thought they could get more money for their home. For sale by owners reported that they gave higher incentives, meaning that they gave too many credits, or they agreed to higher repair requests than probably the norm. They just didn't know what was customary or how to negotiate. Another regret for sale by owners had is that they eventually hired an agent, but they lost a lot of market time, and there was a perception with the days on market calculation that there was something wrong. So they felt like they left money on the table by not hiring an expert. And the 5th regret is my own regret that I have when I sold my house for sale by owner. I was regretful in the fact that I left a lot of money on the table. I didn't know how to negotiate. I put my family in a great deal of risk because I did not know how to fill out those contracts. I did not know how to fill out those disclosures. And I was looking at some contracts that I put together many years ago. And oh my gosh, I'm just grateful that nothing went awry, because I made a lot of mistakes. But I'd say the biggest mistake, or the biggest regret that I have, other than, the risk and the liability and the money I left on the table, was that the stress in the family was tremendous. I was screaming at people. I was stressed. I wasn't available. And in the end, it just wasn't worth it. Now, I'm not going to lie. If somebody came to me and wanted to buy my house and I was game and I sourced my own buyer, it might make sense for me to do that. I do think selling your house yourself does have some benefits. It's just the cons oftentimes outweigh the pros. Now, some of you know I have a referral business, so I am talking to a lot of agents across the nation. And there are so many complaints, and I've had personal experience with talking with agents that just don't know what the heck they're doing. And I had a lot of you say, Audra, I'm in a rural area. I think I should just sell my house myself because honestly, I know more than my agent does. And all I'm going to warn you, if you do decide to do that, is you have to understand that the most powerful way to sell your house is through the internet. You need to get on MLS. There are several discount broker houses, discount agents that can assist you with that. If you're doing your own showings, and maybe you hire an attorney to represent you in the sale to limit some of your risk. But do understand that the biggest mistake that I think most home sellers make when putting their house on the market is they're not doing the proper marketing, meaning they're not getting it out to the masses. And also, right now, the market is fairly reasonable. As soon as the market does correct, and don't get me wrong, the market will correct. The question is how deep and when. But if that market is not real robust and it's not in the seller's favor, you're probably not going to attract as many buyers because they're going to have a lot more opportunities. They're going to be a little bit more fearful, and they're probably going to want to work with a professional. So whether you're looking to sell your house yourself or if you're using a realtor, I highly suggest that you binge watch my videos. I know I'm not trying to self-promote. I just didn't realize how beneficial these videos are. I had a couple of brokers reach out to me and say, Audra, I'm mandating all my agents to watch your YouTube videos because there's so much helpful information and you talk about things that we don't teach our agents. So anyway, as a home seller, get educated, watch my videos. Ultimately, it is your decision to negotiate your terms. You are the boss. You need to take matters in your own hands. And of course, if you are located in Orange County, California, and you're looking to buy or sell in my area, please contact me because I'm for hire and I do a fantastic job. That is self-promotion. All right, thanks so much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. And by the way, I didn't know she was in here, but that's Olive, my trusted animal. She's like love of my life. All right, enough of that. I'll see you in the next video and have a great day.